welcome to Hayes TV. I'm your host as always, Tom Beresford. Now in this special exclusive here on Hayes TV, we'll be joined by Dan Vinten. He'll be joining us very shortly as he joins us live on the line. Hello there, Dan. Firstly, I'd like to welcome you to Hayes TV. Thanks for calling us up today. It's great to speak to you. It's obviously a frustrating time for the club the way the season has ended rather prematurely. Just what's your take on the season overall, and it's all about planning now for next season, isn't it?
Hi, Tom. Yeah, cheers. Thanks for having me on, mate. Really appreciate it. You know, all the lads are talking about how good the podcast is, you know, and keeping all the lads together and people who are listening in, I suppose. A few fans we got and, you know, people that are interested. It's obviously a great addition. Having a good media side at this level is something that I see as a real benefit. So cheers, mate. It's been a weird one, isn't it? It's just, I joined just at around the time, you know, Joffy was kind of leaving. I think I only had a few games. It was Matt that brought me in anyway. You know, so it was a roller coaster start for me when I joined anyway, to be honest, mate. So, you know, I suppose when you join a club, you do first expect to be playing in a way without sounding arrogant, but it didn't really work out that way for me. You know, I had to kind of earn my place in the side. I was in for a game, out for a game type thing, and yeah, so it's been a bit up and down for me since I kind of first came in. But then now it's kind of, you know, we had another baby, so I kind of, before this coronavirus stuff, unfortunately, I had a couple of weeks off, and kind of before that, you know, I'd started the last, I think it was 4 or 5 games on the trot, and I felt like I was playing really well. So my take on the season so far, mate, is, you know, it's been brilliant since I've joined Prestwich. It's been absolutely fantastic. You know, Matt and all the lads have been so accommodating, but yeah, it's just shame how it's kind of ended, because I think realistically, you know, it would have taken a lot for us to have gone up, but I think, you know, I think really we would have needed to have won the last 9 of our games, but I think that as a player is what you need. You need to have something for that last little business end of the season to play for. You need to have something to play for. So, you know, it was a tall ask, but I don't think it was out of our reach. So, you know, yeah, I think the boys in the squad, we're all gutted because we felt like we had something to play for. We felt we was in a good position. But yeah, it's just a real shame. Just a real shame for it to end that way. You know, we kick on to next season now. I think realistically our group's going to stay together. It's one of the best change rooms I've been a part of in non-league anyway. So let's just see where it takes us, mate. You know, I'm loving it. You know, like I said, it's been brilliant. I've taken to the boys, and I just think really if we can keep the core together, you know, you're always going to have additions and people kind of looking to move on, but I think if we can keep the core of what we got, we could have a really special season next season.
Take everything into consideration, Dan. It has been quite a reasonable season. The board and the manager will be reasonably pleased with how the season's gone, but there's signs there that show we could have an even better season next season. Obviously, finishing in the top half of the table, the semi-finals of the Lancashire FA Challenge Trophy, with some great performances in there against some big sides. So, if you were going to sum up the season as a whole, I know it ended prematurely, but just how would you assess the season?
So I suppose, mate, that, you know, my assessment of the season this year, there's probably 2 ways to answer that. One's personally and the other one answering on behalf of Prestwich. So I suppose personally, yeah, I feel it's probably been a bit more stop-start than I would have liked it for me. You know, obviously I started off the season at Glossop. I had possibly one of the most gruelling pre-seasons I've had ever in football. So I felt like I got my certain fitness levels to a place where I thought I was flying. You know, what followed then at the start of the season wasn't necessarily consistent game time, which, you know, there's no animosity there or anything like that. It's more just you know, just the truth. It was, you know, I was starting every other couple of games, and you know, it was just, again, it wasn't something I was happy with the travelling I was doing and stuff like that. So an opportunity came up at Northwich, which I went over there. Now, I was only there for a short time. I was only there for a couple of months. Again, there was a kind of, similar scenario in terms of not getting constant game time, whereas I thought maybe, you know, I suppose outside looking in, I was there for a couple of months, so people think, bloody hell, he's only been there for a couple of months. But from my perspective, I was travelling over 4 hours round trip every Thursday to training, didn't miss a session, didn't miss a game. There was, and the travelling I was doing there, even just to home games was well over an hour. So I found myself every week, I was Saturdays doing, probably 2 to 3 hour round trips to home games. And then, like I said, 4 hour round trips on a Thursday night, whereas like I've got one young son, I've got another new baby now, and it was one of those things that obviously was eating on my mind. So having a chat with Matt, obviously came into Prestwich. I was a bit gutted to leave Northwich, purely because obviously, as a player at this level, they're the types of clubs you want to play for. Big club, big following, have done some brilliant things over the last few years in competitions. But I suppose realistically, love the guys there, love the gaffers there, Pick Up and Steve Wilkes, and even Scott the coach, and all the squad were brilliant there. But for a team of that calibre, obviously probably underachieving a bit. So as a player, if you're not playing consistently or not getting opportunities when the team is underachieving a bit, then I suppose you have to ask a question. So Matt gave me a call, came in, and loved every minute of it. It's so I feel like I ended stronger than it started in terms of the season. But I suppose on the whole, it's probably been a bit stop-start for me, but I'm very glad with how it finished in terms of playing-wise. Gutted how it finished in terms of coronavirus, but so I'm happy with it finished, mate. So I'd like to say stop-start season, gutting at times, but really happy with how it finished, and it's left me with great attitude and great thoughts, very positive going into next season. So I suppose on the flip side of things, answering it as a Prestwich player, I did come into the season for Prestwich a little bit late, but if you ask the lads, we'd be where we are now, given the circumstances with Matt taking over and it effectively being a new squad in December. I think we'd have bitten your hand off. I think we haven't overachieved by any means of the imagination. I think we've underachieved, but we are in a very good position. We've been flying at times. It's always good to win more than you lose. We're at this level because you don't win every game. So it's been a learning curve. I feel like I am one of the older members in the team now. I am one of the more experienced guys. So you have to kind of help lads through it. We've got quite a few young lads in the squad. We have got a young squad. But it's one of those things now. I need to, I suppose, take my experience, see what I can do to help the lads out. We learn from the mistakes. We've had a few games this season. You look at the couple of Daisy Hill games that we've lost. We do things like that, and then we go and spank teams like Colne in the cup. And it's one of those things. It's I think realistically, all the boys are happy with how we finished. We're looking forward into next season. So let's just see where that takes us, mate. It's only positives for me if we can keep the core together. I know, obviously, I'm touching base on what I've just said, but I'm really, really looking forward to next year. As long as we get a full season, full pre-season, obviously, depending on what this virus is doing, I think we have to be, without sounding arrogant, because anyone could be anyone in this league, I think we have to be looking like we are going to go up. I think if we start the season thinking anything different, we're doing ourselves a disservice. That's probably, in terms of coming into Prestwich and finishing the season here, really happy, mate, really happy.
Now, in terms of the team and what Matt is building at Prestwich, the philosophy, the style of football you're playing, and with the players that have come in this season, whether it be the start of the season or the back end of the season, it is individually a really, really strong side from the back four through to the strike force. I mean, Jack Coop joins us. He scored 29 goals this season for the clubs he's been at altogether in the North West Counties League. The midfield is just packed with talent. A comfortable back four. 2 decent goalkeepers. Obviously, the likes of Joe Rothwell coming in, his experience playing at a higher level. James Dwyer, Brad Sixsmith. Nathan Emery's been fantastic this season for me. But it's not just the individual brilliance of what's on the pitch, it's the togetherness of the lads and the way you all get on. A mixture of banter, which we've all seen it happen. I mean, you're one of the main culprits for it. But then when it's game time, you all get your serious heads on and just approach the game in the right way. And there's been some great performances this season, but then again, there's been performances we thought, right, we could have done better there. We could have got something. I know after the heavy defeat in the Lancashire FA semi-final, we then went to Embley and suffered a 4-1 defeat there. I know the gaffer was saying that it wasn't a good performance from the lads, but maybe it was a sort of hangover from the cup game. So yeah, just moving into next season, it's all about stability now, keeping more or less trying to keep the lads we've got now and just adding those final touches. Because when Matt took over, he said it on last week's show that he's reasonably happy with the squad he's assembled now, but he will be looking to bring a few names in before the start of the season.
Yeah, mate, of course. I think it's quite obvious that we play a certain way. I think with the likes of Jack Coops, you've got Reece, who's been out injured as well. Not forgetting, one of my better mates at the club, Fran. They're three very different types of strikers, which obviously, allows us to have different types of play. You've mentioned a host of names there, to be fair, mate, that, everyone's been on it. Listen, we're going to have games where it doesn't click, so there's been more disappointing games. I think, fortunately, from a personal perspective, I wasn't there, but I was also gutted not to be there, even in a loss, because we're a team. But, the 9-0 Bamber Bridge, that's just a write-off. That you get one of them a season, you write it off. Good time to write off. It wasn't against a team biased in the league, so, forget about that. Then, there was probably a bit of a hangover going into the Emley game. Again, I was gutted to miss that as well, because that's out of all the games, that's the closest game to me, 15 minutes away. Gutted to miss that. I think, but they're a strong side. They are where they are for a reason. I appreciate it doesn't mean anything now, but they were going up. Listen, mate, I think realistically, it's one of those things that, going into next season, the experience that we're bringing in, I know you mentioned Joe Rothwell, he's still a pup. You got to hold his hand for a few scenarios. I think he's 20, 21 now, and I've only just seen a video of him online, doing the washing up for his mum. So, there's a lot the kid's got to learn. So I've taken him under my wing. But yeah, there's a few lads here, mate, that they're still young. We've all got really good experience. I've played similar level myself. It's one of those things. I think going forward into next season, though, the experiences we've had from this season will allow us to go to places like your Emley's, like your 2 Daisy Hill games that we lost, and we will get results from them, which I think allows us to have a bit of peace of mind in terms of we're going to have to take on board what we learn, otherwise we will fall by the wayside. But we've got every belief in the fact that we write things off this season, and this season's a write-off in itself. So let's just go forward and see what we can do.
So Dan, you've mentioned a bit there about previous clubs that you've played for and stuff like that. So please tell the listeners, what is your story? Where did football start to become a part of your life? Obviously, we know you used to play for Crawley Town at youth level, and then obviously moved up to this part of the world. Just talk us through your story.
Good question there, Tom. If I had enough time, mate, we'd be sat here for a 4 or 5 hour podcast wanting to hear my story. But it all started, mate. I used to play, I was in the kind of random. I used to play squash for London and the South East region, and I had a decision to make in terms of, did I want to try and see if I could pursue a professional squash career or football. So it was around that time when, I was just going into college. I was 15, 16, playing for, men's sides at this level down south. I then got signed by Crawley Town. That was one of the best experiences I'll ever ask for in football. Gutted that it didn't go any further. But I was there at a time where they just gone from the conference to League Two, and, running youth and reserve section everyone just got cut. Captains, everyone, 20 odd lads just got cut just like that. So that's the brutality of football, but we have to live and learn from it. It's put me into a position now where I was playing at this level. I was playing at like the Evo Stick Bet Victor League down south, and then I moved up here. Work up here, my girlfriend up here, we've got 2 beautiful boys, the house, so we're very settled up here. And I've now played for I'm sure I'll get a bit of stick for it, host of clubs up here in the Bet Victor Evo Stick level and the Northwest Counties. So I feel 27, I feel like I've got enough experience now to be one of those lads that you look to in a squad, and hopefully going forward, one of the first names on the team sheet in terms of what I can bring to the squad as well as on the pitch. My story, mate, is you know, I'm sure there's a few people that got a few things to say, but I've never really fallen out with anyone in football. Quite mouthy on the pitch, but hopefully, as a lot of people will back me up, you know, one of the nicer guys. I'll fit do anything for anyone. But yeah, I'll do anything to win a game. So that's probably why I'll wind a few people up on Saturday, or might try and wind a few people up on Twitter. But but yeah, it's you know, trying to bring a few people down a peg or two. You know, got the likes of Reece here that, you know, he's been injured. And I still can't remember the last time he scored when he wasn't injured. But you know, we'll let that one slide. And yeah, I think, to be honest, mate, just, you know, I just want to kick on now. I'm here at Prestwich. I'm very much a all-in type guy. I don't want to go anywhere else. I've made that apparent to the managers. Hopefully, it's reciprocated. And I think realistically, next year is a big year for Prestwich. You know, we're getting fans through the door, more fans than when I first started here. You know, with the demise, unfortunately, of Bury. You know, we are getting more fans through the door that they want to come and see what we're doing, and they can see how much we've improved. And regardless of the result, they want to see us work hard. And I think that's one of the main things that Matt and Cookie and Dicko have installed in us, Dan as well, is that regardless of what happens, and by all accounts, what I heard from the Banbury Ridge game was, yeah, we lost 9-0, but we didn't stop. And that's us down to a T. So that's why next year, it doesn't matter if you've got 10 match winners on the pitch in terms of getting the ball 20 yards out and pinging it in top bins. I know Will's had a few shanks recently. You know, I know he scored 5, but it's you know, been a long time coming for him. So hopefully he's making up for it now. But you know, if you've got 10 match winners, it doesn't matter if you're not working hard, mate. The first rule of football is work hard, outwork the opposition, then the rest will follow. So yeah, that's kind of my story, a short version. Well, it weren't that short, but I think going forward, very much Prestwich on my mind, mate. You know, I've got my family up here. I'm settled up here. So it's one of those things I don't really want to stress about football. I just want to get on with it, go and win games, and be part of something big, which I feel like I can do here.
Before we do call it a day, Dan, we'd just like to talk about Prestwich Hayes as a football club. Obviously, cast aside the playing staff, but just what the club means to everybody, the history of the club, the people that work behind the scenes on a regular basis. Just what is it like to play not only under Matt Barnes, but play for Prestwich Hayes as a football club?
Okay, so you know what it means to play for Prestwich. Earlier in the podcast, you heard me talk about what it means as a non-league player to play for the likes of Northwich and the followings they get. It is the same for a team like Prestwich, but for total different reasons. Not saying that I wasn't welcomed into Northwich, by the way, and Glossop, who both get good followings and a good family environment. But I walked in, you know, when Matt took over and brought his own lads in, you know, the Steeton game away, there was about 5 lads there I've never seen a day in my life. And it was like I'd known them for 10 years each. It was, you know, coming into a club like this, it's a very prestigious club. You know, before I even knew about I was going to be going to Prestwich, when I saw that Matt had, you know, come on as a joint manager here, it was kind of the first thing. I just thought, well, I know a lot about Prestwich. You know, they play a certain way of football. Joffrey had obviously done some fantastic things before Matt had come on board. And I think really it's just, you know, just being part of it is brilliant. It's always, I think that's one of the main things as a player. Put playing aside, put any type of expenses that, you know, you see players trying to get an extra fiver for. I think realistically, you want to be part of something. I want to look back at football and, you know, I want to say, you know, I've got friends. I've got, you know, the likes of Ryan Hopper, that's played, you know, he played for Manchester United, played for Accrington, one of the youngest players to ever play for Accrington Stanley. And he's probably one of the most memorable players to ever play for New Mills. I want to have something like that. You know, you've got Ollie Martin, who's in the same boat with New Mills and now at Radcliffe Borough. Players like that, I want to have something like that with a non-league club up here, because I know I would have had something like that if I'd stayed down south. So going forward, I just think, yeah, I want to have a club where you're part of something, you look back as a memorable thing. You know, to play for someone like Matt, you know, I'm not going to try and blow smoke because I know he'll be listening. But yeah, I just think, mate, the way he's been with me is brilliant. I'm the type of player that I'm gonna be a bit in your face. I'm gonna question things that I don't think are right. I'm gonna be vocal. Him and Cookie especially, brilliant with me. I'm an out and out left back personally. But obviously Nathan's flying at the minute. So the last few games I've started, I've been playing right back. I've been playing holding centre mid. It's a learning curve for me. I did have quite a poor game against Lower Breck away. Is probably one of my most poor games this season, but then I feel like I've bounced back from that. I've got a few games under my belt in different positions, and then it's kind of shone because, after that poor game, the first thing I did as an experienced player was say, listen, there's no animosity. I don't care, lads. It's one of those things. But what can I do differently? What do you want to see from me? And, Cookie must have sent me about, he's probably the Cookie's probably the only guy I've ever met who's more busy than me in non-league. He sat down, told me everything, and I felt like that then came in the following games. And then, there was a game recently, Matt gave me a bell on the Friday night. Listen, what do you think about playing right back? And he was kind of honest. So he kind of just little things like that. It shows that they're confident in you. It shows that they're happy just to get on the phone, because there's a lot of non-league managers up here that we all know they'll say one thing, do another, or they won't even speak to you. You don't play for 3 or 4 weeks. You don't even hear why. So there's that confidence. So the first thing I said was, listen, wherever you play me, I want to. Even if I'm not the best player in that position, I'll work the hardest, and hopefully that's been shown at right back. So, honestly, having chats with Matt and Cookie and Dicko and again Dan, all the coaching staff here, is I don't care where I'm playing as long as I'm playing, and hopefully that's shown in some performances as well. I noticed that you've been very quick to talk about how well everyone else is playing, so I've got to big myself up, Tom. No, I'm only joking. It's to play at a club like this for managers like this. It is brilliant. It's fantastic. Love it. Prestwich Hayes, it's a real family orientated club. Everybody's been really accommodating to me here, because I do like to see myself as a bit of a character. I probably can wind a few people up the wrong way, but it's all it's all light-hearted. It's all I'm a lovely guy. So listen, I'm really looking forward to things going forward, mate. Tom, you've been brilliant in the things that you've been doing as well, helping get the name out there as well. We're a prestigious club, and we're only going to grow. It's a new generation now. It's a new project. So hopefully going forward, we can make everybody kind of Prestwich and all the new fans that we're getting proud. So thank you very much for the opportunity to come on and do the podcast, mate. Happy to do things like this again. And yeah, let's just see how much graft we put in pre-season, where it takes us. But yeah, cheers, Tom. Really appreciate it, mate.
Thank you very much, Dan. It's been great to speak to you, and maybe we might actually get to see you play a game very soon, mate.
Cheers, Tom. Hopefully when I come back I won't be too rusty, mate, like Potts was at training when he got nutmegged 4 times in the warm-up. All the best, mate. Thanks for having me on.